Before this video starts, make sure to like and subscribe. Now onto the video. The year was 1914 and tensions in Europe were high. You could break them with a needle. For example, Russia helped the Balkan countries gain their independence from the Ottoman Empire, while revolution was threatening the Tsar back in Russia. Back in the West, the French wanted the territory of Alsace back, which Germany took years prior. You get the point. But now, Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire both believed they were some of the best in Europe. However, due to the many ethnicities of people in these countries, they were very unpopular, as everyone had a different political view, so the two created an alliance. Meanwhile, Austria-Hungary's good friend Germany joined the alliance. This alliance is called the Central Powers. But now things are about to go really bad. In this section of Austria-Hungary, there were more people who hated Austria-Hungary. So the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife decided to come on down to see what's the matter and how he can help. What a good leader. Except not really, because his route was published in advance and there was an attempt to kill him. However, he did luck out, as the person who tried to kill him missed and threw a bomb at a bodyguard driving the car behind him. He then went into hiding for around an hour. He then paid a visit to the injured bodyguard in the hospital. What a good leader. Except not really, since on his way back the driver took a wrong turn and was stuck next to the guy who failed to kill him earlier, so the assassin, Gavrilo Princip, shot both him and his wife. Austria-Hungary was understandably really angry about this, and they thought Serbia was responsible, which they may have been. Austria-Hungary then went to their good friend Germany and asked them if they would help in a war against Serbia. Germany was very eager and said yes. They then asked the Ottomans, who denied the invitation but did agree to help fund the war. So they sent Serbia a long list of demands, and when Serbia refused on July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. But Serbia is allies with Russia, who is allies with French, and then Germany joins on the side of Austria. So they all declare war on each other, and Montenegro joins in on the side of Serbia as well. Britain technically has an alliance with France, but they ultimately decide to stay out of it. This is amazing for Germany, since they have a very simple plan. Since Russia is giant, they know it will take them a lot of time to get ready for war, since all the military bases are more east than west. So while Russia was preparing, they would do a full assault on France from the border and get to Paris as soon as possible. Once they do this, they turn around and fight Russia, knocking out Serbia in the process. However, there is one itsy-bitsy problem. There are forts all along the border with France and Germany, and since they had no time to go through them, they had to go around them through Belgium. Germany was hoping Belgium would shut up and let them, but since Belgium was neutral, it didn't want Germany marching an entire population worth of people through it, so instead of letting the Germans invade, they fought back and were doing pretty well. But now the British show up and they're really pissed. The Germans are invading neutral countries, so they declare war on Germany. In the process, Germany pushes hard but never fully captures Belgium. Another big problem: the Germans were committing many war crimes, playing right into propaganda. This took a big role in the United States of America, where people were very opposed to war, while the President Woodrow Wilson tried to make Europe just have peace. However, this did not work. Meanwhile, back in Europe, the French started marching to meet the Germans head-on, but they have a problem. They are extremely outdated and unprepared, so when they approached Germany, they had bullets and explosives rained down upon them. This allows Germany to advance more to the point where they're in sight of Paris. However, things may have been going good in Europe. It was not overseas, where the British took German New Guinea and all their African colonies. Back in Europe, Russia was ready for war, and this time it was earlier than expected. So Germany had Austria-Hungary go and fight them, and then Austria got pushed back. This made Germany send troops to the Eastern Front, making their conquer of France weaker. Luckily for Germany, they were able to completely wipe out Russia's Second Army and advance into their territory, pushing the Russians out of Austria in the process. This is due to the Austrian commander completely ignoring Germany's instructions and then coming back when they lose. Meanwhile, back on the Western Front, things start to go really wrong. The French commander knew something had to be done, so he ordered his men to stop retreating. They managed to push Germany back before they dug in for trench warfare, and the Germans did the same. Both sides then tried to outflank each other, creating trenches from the English Channel to Switzerland. This put the Western Front in a stalemate. To make this all worse for Germany, the British started a naval blockade from England to Norway, so the Germans can't get things like food and weapons. More bad news for the Germans. The Allies' two new friends were Japan and Italy. Japan was more than happy to take German colonies and islands in Asia, while Italy attempted an invasion of Austria-Hungary through the Alps, but like everyone else they were stuck in stalemate. Italy was actually allies with Austria before the war, but after tense relations and the promise of more land, Italy joined the Allies. Meanwhile, Austria's old friend the Ottoman Empire were considering joining the war. Great news for Germany. However, there was a split in government on if to join the war or not, since they were exhausted from the recent Balkan wars. But then the side that did want to join fired bombs at Russia from the Black Sea. They came back and Russia had declared war, forcing the Ottomans to join the war. This was very worrying to the British, who wanted all of that Middle Eastern oil, so they took a southern port to protect Persia's oil fields. The Ottomans then tried to capture some of Russia. This failed. They then tried to capture Egypt from the British. This also failed. The Allies then tried to take the intersection connecting the Ottoman Empire to Europe. This also failed. The Ottoman blamed it on the Armenians living in the territory. This led to the genocide of over 1.5 million people. After this, the Germans tried to get spies in Afghanistan to inspire the country to go to war with British India, but this failed. Germany then decided to break the treaty of war and started committing many crimes like bombing civilians and using chemical gas. Shortly after this, the Allies did the same. Meanwhile, Austria still has not dealt with Serbia, so with Bulgaria wishing it was bigger, and still being bitter about the Balkan wars, it joined the Central Powers. So with the help of Bulgaria they took down Serbia and then chased them through Albania. Albania was neutral but had ties with Austria-Hungary. Germany then declared war on Portugal after they started trading with the Allies. Meanwhile, the Germans tried to capture the French city of Verdun, but after the British started a draft, the French called for its allies to distract the Germans. So both the British and Russians were doing well pushing them back, but then the Russians ran out of supplies and the Germans captured the city. Romania saw this as a great time to join the Allies and win, and then they got destroyed. Then Greece had a big fight. The king liked the Central Powers and the Prime Minister liked the Allies. After the country splitted in two for a bit, the king advocated and the Greeks joined the Allies and started a new offensive from the south. Russia then invaded and captured southern Ottoman territory. However, it was still anyone's war. Basically every country had problems because of the war, so now everyone wanted to see who would break first, and it was Russia. After a hard-fought revolution, Lenin overthrew the Tsar and pulled Russia out of the war. This was amazing news for Germany, as now they only have to deal with Greece and the Western Front. But now Germany had a new problem: those pesky Americans. It was looking more and more likely they would join, as they were sending supplies to the Allies and getting rich off the back of it. So Germany sent a letter to Mexico telling them to invade America, but the British saw it and showed America. And that was the final straw. The American troops began shipping out to Europe. Germany knew they had to force the French and British to surrender before America showed up, but it was too late and Germany didn't have enough supplies, and when America showed up they started getting pushed in from all sides. This was it. Bulgaria collapsed first, then the Ottoman Empire, then Austria-Hungary. Then on November 11th and 11 o'clock Germany surrendered. The Germans were forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, limiting their military and lowering their land. Meanwhile, Ottomans lost land and Austria-Hungary was dissolved. Thank you all so much for watching and getting me to 500 subscribers. This took a while, so please consider subscribing. This will be a series. I plan to make more videos like this one in the future.